gonna kick off with this. I make well over 6 figures a month, and I'll be working Christmas Eve. I'll be working the first half of Thanksgiving. I'll be working December 26th, 27th, 29th. I'll be working New Year's Eve, and I'm gonna wake up after having the time of my life on New Year's, and I'll be working January 1st and 2nd as well.
I
So
love it, man.
I don't even know
Well,
why that was a question. We shouldn't have to talk about that. You have a job. Um, but I will let you go ahead and
if you can just come
I
on,
like him, Mike.
I know, man. I talked to him earlier.
yeah.
Guy's sharp. I told you, Sam. You can just come on and kind of introduce your background, where you came from, when you got started, and anything else you want to train on. We'll ask you some questions at the end, but the floor is yours, man. Whatever you want to, whatever
I
you think will
appreciate it.
help everyone on this group. I appreciate it.
First thing I want to say is I don't really get on a Zoom call with half of it with the cameras turned off. So if anybody has a working camera, please turn it on. It's just a huge respect thing. When people are giving you time, you pay attention. But on top of that, the biggest thing, I'm 21 years old. I've been in the insurance industry now since May of last year. And I've had the luxury of meeting people like Frank Euphemia and Dave Witchard. I've never met Mike, but I've been around, and I joined underneath a guy named Rob Richmond. But if you rewind 2 years ago, I started off, I was working at a gym. I was working the closing shift. I'd go into work at 2 p.m. and I'd get off at midnight. It was very miserable. And I had the luxury of selling a little bit there. I hold the record for the most memberships ever sold. Was selling like 50, 60 memberships a month. In an industry where people were only making 2-3 grand, I was pulling in 5 to 6 grand a month. So it's not like, I didn't know what I was doing with my life. I knew I wanted to be in sales. So I got a very random Instagram direct message from Rob Richmond's wife one day, and it was like, hey, do you keep your business opportunities open? It was a very vague message. And I happened to be silly enough to respond to it like, yeah, I do. What's up? And I ended up hopping on a call with her. That was in January. It took me 4 months to get my license because I didn't know really what I was doing. I didn't know anything about insurance. I didn't know what life insurance was. I didn't know if people actually made money from it. I had never been around anybody that sold it. But at the end of the day, I believed in myself. So when, I hopped on a call with Rob, he presented me with a lot of people making a lot of money. He was, showing me names to look up and things like that. And I'm a firm believer, and if you can do it, I can do it better. So I said, hey, I'll give it a shot. If it's an opportunity to print money the way he says it is, I'll definitely go all in. And that's exactly what I did. I got my license like the last week of April. I got my contracts in, I remember. And I was selling from home, but I wasn't selling. I was waking up at like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, because I was still obviously on my graveyard schedule, but I wasn't working there anymore. I quit that job. But I was sleeping in, and then I'd be like, oh, yeah, Rob, I've been dialing all day. I used to remember I'd wake up. I'd have an alarm set for 8 a.m. I'd wake up and I'd text Rob, good morning, let's kill the day. And then I'd go right back to sleep. And I know the kind of person I am. If I'm just at home with all the freedom in the world, getting started in this, I probably was going to be very distracted. So I had to figure out a way to eliminate those distractions. I had to sacrifice something so that I could put myself in a position to win. So I booked a one-way flight down to Dallas. I've never met this Rob Richmond guy in my life. I don't know who he is. I have no money in my bank account. I've never even sold a policy yet. I don't know where I'm going to stay, how I'm going to get around, what I'm going to do. But I remember calling him at 9 o'clock at night because he was going to fly me out there for a lock-in he was hosting. And I said, hey, have you booked that flight yet? He said, no. I said, perfect. Don't book a return flight. And he asked me, he said, what are you going to do? I said, dude, I'll sleep in a motel for $50 a night until I can afford to get my own place, or until I have to call my mom and say, hey, can you give me enough money to fly me back home? I said, but at the end of the day, I'll figure it out. I don't have a plan, but my plan is to be successful. And that's what I'm going to go down there and do. And I'd rather be around people that are doing it in an environment where I have no choice. I know if I have friends, I'm not very good at saying no. So one thing I've gotten really good at is making sure that I only have people around me that ask me questions that I can say yes to. So I eliminated a lot of my friends because they'd ask me, hey, do I want to go out and party? The answer is always going to be yes. I tell everybody yes. I have a huge issue with saying no. So I had to get really, really good at making decisions and cutting people out of my life or putting people in my life to where the things I was saying yes to wouldn't hurt me. So I got in the insurance industry and no idea what I was doing. I don't know what mortgage protection is. I don't know what instant internet, what beneficiaries are. I don't even know what a beneficiary is. So I was dialing everything. I was on the ILC buying all types of different leads, draining the bank account. I didn't have a credit card. I was 20 years old. All I had was the cash that I had. And I spent every last dollar of it. And I did that for the first 4 months of my business. I was making 20 grand in my first month. I made 17 grand in May. I deposited 17 grand in my bank account. I ended the month with maybe 600, 700 bucks in my bank account because I was pouring every dollar I had into this business. I think I spent 11 grand on leads, super overspent. I'm not recommending that, but I was buying enough to where if I messed up, am I allowed to curse on this?
Just
No? Yeah.
don't drop the F-bomb.
Okay. All right. So if I messed up, I was able to have more opportunities. And then from there, I've never made less than 20 grand since because of the situation I put myself in. I was working, you guys think 40 hours is a work week. I was working 100. And even now, again, he's asking the question of, are we going to work on holidays? I work Monday through Saturday and sometimes Sunday. I'll probably work 1 or 2 Sundays out of the month. And when I work, I'm talking about, I get here at 7:30 a.m. every day and I stay until 9, 10 o'clock at night. I get home at 10, 11 on a good night. Some nights I'm in here, I got guys that dial Hawaii leads. If my guys are going to be in here working, I can't let them work harder than me because I'm going to be the one that sets the example for them. So I'll be in here dialing Hawaii leads and I don't even sell insurance anymore. I've gotten to a point now where I literally just train and develop and recruit at a very, very high level and focus on developing others. The only time I get on the phone is if I'm being a part of something. If my guys are going to stay late, I'm going to stay just as late with them and I'm going to get on the phone and show them how to do it. So sorry, my mouth was getting dry. A lot of this industry is not skills, dude. I've seen some of the most unskilled people that just can't even talk make a lot of money in this industry. I've seen some not intelligent people make a lot of money in this industry. It's all mindset. It all comes down to, can you believe in yourself? If you can believe in yourself, which is the biggest part of it, what are you going to do with that belief? Are you going to hold yourself accountable? Are you going to show up? Are you going to put in the time that you don't want to put in? And you have to be really, really good at doing things you don't want to do in this industry. You have to be really good at making yourself uncomfortable. Just like in sales, there's an aspect of making sure that you make the client on the phone uncomfortable as well. They need to be a little uncomfortable if I'm going to close at a very high rate. So, if you have to be successful selling by making people uncomfortable, you probably have to be successful at life by making yourself a little uncomfortable. And that just comes down to simply, I'm not a morning person. Why do I get here at 7:30? I don't have to. I could show up at 8 or 9. I get here because it's something I don't want to do. And in life and in your day, you constantly are at war with yourself. That's how I explain life. Life is war. Life isn't about being happy. Life isn't about being comfortable. Life isn't about being at every one of your son's soccer practices and soccer games. Life is war. And it's about winning every single battle that you have an opportunity to win. When that alarm goes off in the morning, that's the first battle of the day. That is the most important battle of the day. When you hit snooze or you don't wake up right away, you just lost the first battle of the day. You're starting your day off on a loss. And that's not something I want to do. I'm a self-proclaimed winner. I don't like to lose. So then you go through every single day and you break it all down into battles. How many battles in your day are you losing? How many times do you have to grow, or how many seconds do you have to make something happen and you just let it go? Sean Mike says, if you're not growing, you're dying. And I stand by that. It's something I believe in deeply. If you are not every single day working to grow and you're just showing up, if you're just showing up, you can be here from 8 to 8. You can work the same amount of hours I do and do 10% of the work I do. Don't be a person that shows up. There's no point in it. If you want to be somebody that shows up, just make your life simple, dude. Go get a 9 to 5. Go get something with a pretty good salary, 80 to 100 grand. You'll live somewhat comfortably and you can have a fake smile every day. Whatever makes you happy. If you're somebody that just wants to show up, I'm not like that. When I heard that I could be self-employed, when I heard that I could have my own business, which I don't care if you have any agents underneath you, you run your own business. And that's something you have to understand day one. This is a business. You have to operate your day-to-day operations like it's a business. You have to treat yourself like you're an employee of your business, but also the owner of your business every single day. Right. So when I got into this and I heard that I can make my own schedule, I hear a lot of people talk about when they get to make their own schedule, they have freedom. They can show up to things. They can work their own hours. They can take days off. No. When you have your own schedule and you have the freedom to make your own schedule, that means you get to work as much as possible to build something that's yours. You get to put as much time, energy, and effort into it as you can. Nobody else can control your hours. Nobody else can control your schedule. You're in control of it. Now, granted, you have the bonus of when something very, very important arises, you have the flexibility to go and handle that. But you don't have the flexibility to do whatever you want whenever you want. That is not how a business is ran. You do what the business requires every single day, every single second. And that requires a lot of work. 12 to 15 hours a day, not 8. 8 is a 9 to 5 job. That's why people that you go and work for a job, that's why they have you work for 8 hours a day. Because they don't have to pay you overtime or anything like that. In this job, our overtime is the growth that we're going to have. the most valuable thing in this world is knowledge. It's way more expensive than money itself, right? So I put in a lot of time without getting a lot of money in at first. You know, I was, like I said, dumping every dollar I had into the business. It's not like I was profiting or paying myself a lot or buying a lot of really nice things my first couple months in the business, even though I was making 20 grand, 25 grand a month. You know, at the end of every month, I remember talking to Rob, I'm like, where's the money? It's gone. I don't know what happened to it. He's like, how much did you spend on leads? Like 9, 10 grand. You know, I'm paying for agents to get licensed. I took so many losses in the beginning as far as agents go, because that was my first time ever being a leader, you know, and again, everything you do, you have to do over and over and over until you get good at it. You know, I'm the leader I am now because I was a leader day one. I led myself, and then I tried to lead every single person that I brought in here. And I didn't know what I was doing. So I was experimenting, and I was using my time and my money to experiment. I was paying for agents to get licensed. I was flying them down to Dallas. I had a house I was paying for and an apartment just so I had enough space to have agents relocate to Dallas. Because I'm from Decatur. I'm from Illinois. So I had to figure out how my warm market for recruiting, everybody that I knew, everybody that was going to hit me up for a job was in Illinois. I had to figure out how I could get them down to Dallas so that I could train them, because I wasn't ready to leave Dallas yet. I still had a lot to learn. I still had a lot of doors I needed to walk through before I branched off on my own. I didn't come back to Illinois until March of this year. I came back. And I moved out here, and ever since then, that's when things started to skyrocket, right? Because I moved back because I love Dallas. If I could choose Dallas or Chicago, I'd choose Dallas 9 times out of 10, right? But again, it comes down to making sacrifices. I knew that if I wanted to scale this thing and grow at an extremely high level, I was going to have to, one, take on some responsibilities. I had to open my own office, which cost a lot of money. And I had to work even harder because everybody I knew was going to be out here. It made it 10 times easier to scale and grow. So even though it's not the decision I wanted to make, it was the decision my business needed. So I can ramble in circles for a long time, having no idea where I'm going with this. So throw me a question.
Man. Keep on going. Talk about what happened when you got back to Chicago. What'd you start doing to grow?
So when I got back to Chicago, this is in March, remind you, I had 20 people licensed and contracted underneath me. You know how many of them I had working for me? I landed in Chicago. I had 4 people working for me, and we all lived in the same house. I moved back to Illinois, and I was waiting. I had just got a penthouse in Chicago, but I was waiting on it to come up. I was like a month away from actually being able to move in. So I stayed at one of my agent's house. It was me, and we were living with his parents. It was me, him, his sister, and this guy, Raph. And we had 4 agents, 5 agents. That's all we had. And then in a month, we took that 5 to about 20. We went from doing 70,000 in, I believe in March, we maybe did 80 or 90,000, to where today, last month, we did 790,000. I don't know how we didn't do 8. It was the dumbest thing ever. We'll do 850, probably 900 this month very easily. Next month, we'll do 1 million. And in January, you can mark my words on it. You guys can embarrass me on social media if I don't hit it. We will do $1.5 million of production in January. And you're like, Stanley, that's a $500,000 growth. How are you going to do it? Well, I'm going to recruit the world, and I'm going to implement things and work harder than I ever have. You know, I've started to taper off, and, you know, as you get money and you start to experience things you've never experienced before, there's a part of you that takes your foot off the gas a little bit. So you have to put yourself in situations that keeps your foot on the gas. You know, I have this phrase I say, like, hey, if it doesn't hurt, then it's not worth it. You have to put yourself in a situation to where if it doesn't work out, it needs to hurt you. You know, take on more bills than you can afford, or, you know, take on more responsibility than you can handle, and then figure out how to handle it. Make it hurt if it doesn't work out. You know, if you're part-time right now and you're working a full-time job, or you're working another part-time job and you're trying to make enough money to go full-time in the industry or whatever it is, you're simply, 1, telling me that you don't believe in yourself, and 2, that you're scared. And those are 2 things that if you just make yourself uncomfortable with and you quit that job and put your back against the wall, you're going to have to figure it out. The problem is a lot of people will never figure it out unless they have to, unless their life or their situation depends on it. And then a lot of you are too scared to ever put yourself in a situation where your life or your situation depended on it. That means you will be in the same spot for the rest of your life. You have got to do stuff you don't want to do. I'm trying really, really hard not to let curse words slip out. So I'm trying to get fired up, but I don't want to curse. So you got to just put yourself in a bad situation, man. There is no plan B. That's not even a thing. It never has been. It never will be. A plan B is just a nice way of saying, hey, if this doesn't work out, which means you're not going to make it work out. I got a news for you guys. Nothing ever works out. You make stuff work out. You make stuff happen. You make the difference, right? It doesn't just, you don't just walk down the hall and it just works out and just everything falls into place for you. You have to put stuff in place. You have to make it happen for yourself. So if you have a plan B, that's saying, what if it doesn't work out? Which is also saying, I don't think I'm going to be able to make it work out. And you have got to eliminate that out of your brain, out of your mind. It's not a thing that you can tell yourself, dude. Belief is so freaking important in this industry. If you don't believe you can do it, nobody else is going to make you believe it. It's impossible. The problem is you guys see 100 people. I mean, there was people on that leaderboard that are spending 40 grand a month. Most of you guys need 10 grand a month to live, or a week. I apologize. There was somebody on there that did 40 grand in a week. There was like 10 people that did over 30 grand issue paid through 2 weeks. So how can you guys sit at home and see that and then not figure out how to at least do 10 grand in a month? What are they doing that you're not doing? Okay, well, you already know what they're doing. Why aren't you doing it? What are you afraid of? Like, why are you just putting yourself through this misery? Like this job, I'll be blunt with you guys. This is not the most fun thing in the world. Like nobody wants to be an insurance agent that just dials the phone 8 hours a day for the rest of their life, right? So how do we get out of that? Well, we sell at a high level, which is very important. If you ever want to build a business, you have to sell at a high level. You have to have proof of concept. I can't tell, I see Kendall Clark here on my screen. I can't tell Kendall Clark that I'm going to make him 20 grand a month and I'm going to change his life if I can't even make myself 20 grand a month. I can't even change my own life. How am I going to do that? So I have to sell at a high level. That way I'm able to recruit at a high level. And then here's the best part about it, guys. You're going to fail. The first 10 agents you bring on, you might lose 9 of them. You might lose all 10. You might keep all 10, but they might not make any money, right? You're going to fail. Do you stop recruiting? No. Hopefully you learn something. Now we grow. Now we add what we learned on. Then we recruit another 10. Okay. Those 10 might not work out. The first 20 agents I recruited, I did not keep. And I'm very good at what I do. I don't know why I didn't keep them because I was just trying stuff. I was figuring it out. I didn't give up. Like I said, through that time, I came back in March, I had 5 agents. I had like 20, 25 contracted underneath me, all different situations. There's another thing I do. I will not work with a part-time agent. And I won't work with a virtual agent, right? People are going to tell me, well, Stanley, there's a lot of you guys on here. You guys are a lot older than the normal crowd that I see. Don't take that the wrong way. A lot of you guys look very young. I didn't mean it bad. But there's a lot of you guys that are a lot older. My entire team's 18, 19, 20-year-olds. So you're going to say, well, hey, you guys don't have any responsibility. You don't have any wife or kids, things like that. I get it. But to the same degree, what do you want out of this? You want to get rich? You want to build a business? You want to make it happen? Well, then you have to make sacrifices. I don't care if you're 18 years old or 48 years old, right? You have a wife and kids. That's great. And I understand you want to be the best father possible. I understand that you want to be at every single event. I understand that every time your wife calls you and wants to talk, you want to pick up the phone and make her feel happy. I understand that when she wants to watch a show with you, the Real Housewives of whatever, I don't even know, you want to go lay in bed and watch it with her and eat some popcorn. Guess what? You don't get to. Not now. Not today. Because until you have something to show for it, until you have something that you don't have to give 100% at for it to operate at 100%, you just don't get that luxury. Yes, there's going to be some games that you should show up to your kid for every now and then. But at the same time, I cannot listen to that excuse over and over and over. Just tell me that you don't want it, and I'm not going to hold you accountable. But you guys spend half your life just lying to yourselves, right? You spend half your life telling yourself you'll do anything for it. You want it so bad. But then the second I tell you what you got to do, you won't do it. You're lying to yourself and you're lying to me. So then I'm supposed to hold you accountable to things. I'm wasting what I call T. I have this saying in my agency, we call it T. T-E-E, time, energy, and effort. Every single morning when we wake up, we fill our cups with T, time, energy, and effort. And by the end of the day, it is empty. I have poured that entire cup out. You know why? Because there's an unlimited source of it. So I get to wake up tomorrow and fill it up again. I get to sleep on it and wake up with a full cup. So every single day, why do you leave so much time, energy, and effort in your cup? You're scared that it's going to run out. You're like afraid that you're never going to be able to refill it. What if you work too hard? It's always going to be there. You always get to wake up tomorrow. You don't always get to, and that's the unfortunate part about it. And that's why you pour your cup out every single night, because I don't know if I'm going to wake up tomorrow, So I'm going to run this thing until the wheels fall off. I'm going to pour every ounce of time, energy, and effort I have every single day and hope I wake up tomorrow with the same amount so that I can do it over again. So like your excuses, I don't care. There is not a situation. We can hop on a one-on-one call. There is not a single situation you can present to me to where I cannot give you a solution. Because at the end of the day, the solution is literally to take action and work. That is the solution to every single problem. Take action and work. Hold yourself accountable. Stop lying to yourself. If you say you're going to do something, do it. If you say you want something, go and get it. Other people are not going to hand it to you, right? He told me when he texted me, Mike said the topic for this call is why is FFL the best place to work at? And I could tell you 100 things. Our comp's good, our carriers are great, our bonuses are amazing. My bonuses are great, and I can tell you all these things, right? The truth is, it's the best place to work at because it's where you are at. You can send me to AIL, which in my opinion, one of the worst companies to work at. The leads are terrible and the commission is even worse. Send me over to AIL and I will make more money than every single person in due time on this Zoom call because I will outwork you in any system there is. So quite frankly, it doesn't matter what the best place to work at. The best place to work is where you're at. And it's your responsibility to make the best of it. Right? I have so many people that are be like, hey, I want to switch up lines. Like I see this group doing better than this group. Hey, first of all, you haven't even given that group a chance. Second of all, do not be a taker. You just want to take shit from people. Or I apologize. I let one slip. You just want to take stuff from people. So this group's doing better. You want to go and take the momentum and the growth that they have. Be a giver. If your group's doing worse than this group and you think that you want to join that group, screw that. Don't go join that group. Work your butt off to make your group better. Make your group better than. People say all the time, they're like, you need to change your environment. I agree. You do need to change your environment. That doesn't mean change your environment. That means be the change in your environment. Change the people around you, change the energy, change their mindset, change their work ethic, change everything about them. Don't just leave them because they weren't good enough. It's your job and your responsibility to make the people around you good enough. It's your job and your responsibility to be the light. Like so many people want other people to be the light for them, people to do the work for them. You don't have the time, the energy, and the effort. They want everything to just be done for them. Don't, bro. You're never going to make it anywhere. I would not be where I'm at if I was just waiting on other people to hand it out. I'll be very blunt. And my guy knows this. But when I came in, the support and the structure and the systems and the leads, garbage. It wasn't good. You think I complain? No. I bless him for what he did have to offer. I bless him for even giving me the opportunity. This man let me sleep on his couch for 2 weeks when I moved down to Dallas. Let me sleep on his couch. He didn't have any idea what we were going to sell or what leads or what scripts or anything like that to use. I didn't need it. I needed an opportunity. I was going to be the one that made it happen for me. I was not looking for somebody else to make it happen for me. So many of you guys are looking for other stuff from other people. Do not be a taker, be a giver. Give people the stuff you're looking for. Stop looking for another group or another agency or another place to do it. And that's simply why it's the best. Again, there's actual reasons why it's the best, but none of it matters. Because any company is going to be the best company if I'm at it. Because I'm going to be the guy that makes it the best. So you guys got lucky because I'm at FFL. So this stuff keeps slipping out. This stuff's
good,
amazing.
Man. Everyone wants you to cuss the last 10 minutes now.
F it.
I think you have to make up for all the ones you held back.
I won't do it.
What questions do you guys have for Stan? You go by Stan or Stanley?
Stanley.
Stanley. Anyone have any questions? You can post them in the chat.
I have a question. Can I ask it?
Yeah.
Sure, go ahead.
Hi, Stanley. Nice to meet you.
I can't see who's talking.
That's,
Usually
here, let me say
this is Jonna.
Jonna, nice to meet you as well.
Nice to meet you. Congratulations. Amazing job. I wanted to know, what are the top 3 things where you're finding the most success in developing new agents that are coming on, or getting them into the right mindset? I don't necessarily have the means to fly agents and have them all stay in my house. I have 4 kids, right? So it's I can't really open up an office right now. So what do you think are practical?
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. You just, like I said, you don't need to change your situation. You just need to figure out how to make your situation the best, right? So for your situation, you're probably doing it virtual. So now we have to be really, really good at being virtual. Well, that's hard because how do I know, right? Just like right now, you could turn your camera off and you can unmute and say, yeah, Stanley, I'm working. Same thing I was doing with Rob. So how are we going to figure out a way to hold people accountable virtually? And I don't have the answer because I don't do it virtual for that reason. But what I will tell you is it's possible. You have to be really, really hard on those people. Stop caring about people's feelings, right? Joanna, my agents will be the first one to tell you. Every now and then, I'll be a little snippy with them. Every now and then, I'll yell at them, right? It's tough love for a reason. But you have to be hard on those people. Because if somebody wasn't hard on you, or maybe right now you don't have somebody that's being that hard on you, and you might say things like, hey, it's not possible, or I don't know how to do it, or anything like that. You do. You just don't have anybody in your corner telling you that every single day. And a lot of times, all somebody needs is just that little kickstart. They just need to be believed in a little bit. So what are you going to do to make sure that they're on the call every single day at 7:30? Well, for me, if I was showing up at the office at 7:30, I had a list. I had 20 people that were supposed to be there at 7:30. I was calling every single one of them at 7:31. Where are you at? And then again at 8 o'clock, where are you at? And I don't hold excuses accountable. I tell them, I don't give an F, get on the Zoom right now, right? The other thing you can do is there's systems you can invest in. One that I paid for, but I never actually used, Ring Central. Ring Central, if you buy it and you map it out the right way, and I'm sure Frank, who's a system guru, from what I know, that guy just does everything system oriented. He could probably find one as well. It's going to tell you the amount of time that your agents have called for. You can listen to every single phone call. You can hop in on the phone call if they're struggling to close a deal. You can measure all that stuff. Whereas like me, I can walk around my office and know everybody's calling. You're probably going to have to implement something like that so you can actually track people. But you also have to be very okay with having the uncomfortable conversation with them. When they say that, hey, I dialed all day, and you look at their Ring Central and it's garbage, you need to call them out on their BS. You have to be stern with them. You have to get a little tough on them, or else it's just never going to happen for them.
And Stanley, you got me mixed up with Mike. Mike's the system guy.
Mike's the guy. Okay.
I'm half retarded on a computer.
I appreciate it. Hey, thanks, John. Josh, you said you
Real
had a
quick,
question,
that was,
man?
you had 3 parts to that, no? Or did
Yeah.
I answer all 3?
Well, I said like, what are the top 3 things that you would say? But I mean, if that's, you know, what it is, then.
Yeah, I mean, I would implement systems. I'd be really, really hard on them, and I'd have uncomfortable conversations with them because it's 10 times harder virtual. I'll be honest with you, it is. Not impossible. It's possible. You can do it. It's just harder. And then here's the number one thing I have. You cannot tell somebody to do something that you will not do yourself. So if you want them on there, and you need them on there, you have to be on there at 8 a.m. every day or whatever it is. I understand you have kids, so you might have to drop them off at school. Every second you have that you're not dealing with your kids, or you're not dealing with something that you have to deal with, has to be devoted to work. That way, when you tell somebody else that they need to do that as well, they respect it and they can listen to it. You have to be what you preach.
Oh, yeah.
Number
for
one
sure.
rule across everything is you have to be what you preach.
Thanks. Josh, you had the next question. What's up, man?
So my question for you, and also like she said, nice to meet you, and congratulations on all you've been doing. For the people that kind of struggle to keep that fire in them going, I always tell people, like my friends, I think therefore I am. You know, whatever you think yourself to be is what you're gonna be. You know what I'm saying? A person that thinks they're gonna fail and a person that thinks they're gonna succeed, they're both correct. What do you do on a day-to-day basis to keep that fire burning hotter than, you know, hotter and taller than your actual body is?
Well, I tell people like you, I wake up in the morning and I text you and I say, I'm going to be better than you. Because then I have to be. I can't let you outwork me. You know, I put myself up there with the best in the industry, and I watch how they work and I watch what they say, and I say, I'm going to do it better. You know, I put everything that I vocalize, right? I just got on this Zoom. There's 190 people in here. And I told 190 people that I'm going to do $1.5 million in January. We do half of that right now. And that's in 2 months. Right? So it's going to be very embarrassing. I'm going to have 190 people that say I'm not a man of my word if I don't make that happen in January. So I don't need a fire lit under me. I got 190 people watching me, and I'm not going to let 190 people down. Does that make sense? So I put myself in situations like that. I put myself in situations, make it hurt. So whatever you say you're going to do, I'm going to make it hurt if I don't do it. I'm going to make it embarrassing for myself. I'm going to make it financially tough on myself. Whatever the case is, I'm going to put things in place to where if I don't do what I say, I'm definitely going to feel the repercussions. Because a lot of you guys, you can wake up in the morning and hit the snooze and you're going to be perfectly okay. Your bills are going to be paid because you don't have that many bills. Your life's still going to be happy because you have a lot of friends over you, friends around you that are just liars. They're going to tell you that you're doing good and they're proud of you when you're not really doing anything at all. Get those people out of your life. Get anybody that's a liar out of your life. People around you have to be accountable. You have to be around some people that are going to be real with you. Yeah, I've never struggled with that, dude. I've never struggled with it. So it's not something that I'm inclined to train on. You know, how do I keep the fire burning? I don't know. It's never went out. I work my butt off every single day, day in and day out. And when I don't, and I take a day off or I have a little bit of fun, I promise you the entire time I'm just thinking about working. I'm obsessed with it. And when you're obsessed with something, you don't really have control over how you act. You know, you just perform at all times.
Awesome. Appreciate it, man. Brittany, you're up next. What you got for him?
Hey Stanley, I love everything you're saying. Do you have a morning routine or like a daily routine? If so, can you share?
Yeah, I wake up, I shower, I brush my teeth, and I put on usually a suit. You guys caught me in a t-shirt today. I just make sure I have a nice outfit on. You know, I gotta have some nice shoes to go with the outfit, and then I walk out of the door, I get an energy drink, and I slam the energy drink, and I just get fired up, and I walk in here. And the first thing I do is I walk around the entire office every single day when I walk in. I dap everybody up. I give everybody a handshake, tell them what's up, get them fired up. You know, I say what's up to them because like they need to know I'm present. Because I'll be real with you, my agency does not work as hard when I'm not around. If I leave for a week on vacation, numbers go down immediately, right? Or not on vacation. I have another office in Dallas. So I have this office in Naperville, and then I have one in Dallas. So anytime I go to Dallas, Naperville is down for a little bit, Dallas is up, vice versa when I bounce back and forth. Which just goes to show the impact that I have in the office. I walk around, I tell everybody what's up, I get everybody fired up. And then the first thing I'll usually do every morning, my people ask me, how am I in such a bad mood in the morning? I'm not. I'm just super passionate about this. I'll yell at somebody almost every morning. Like, we gotta, if again, every single day at 8 a.m., 7:30 a.m., if my people aren't here that are supposed to be here, especially if it's somebody the day before that told me today's the day they're gonna show up on time, they call them the Stanley Smith phone call. When they get that Stanley Smith phone call at 8 a.m., they do not want to answer it. They know what it is. And it's tough love, you know, at that same time, like that person I'm probably going to take out to dinner that night and treat them to a very nice steak dinner, or, you know, I'm going to invite them over or whatever. We're like, I don't have a bad relationship with any of my agents. They all love me, and it's, you know, I would say it's a love-hate relationship, but none of them hate me, you know, but I am tough on them. Like, I'm real with them. I don't lie to my people. But my daily routine, simply, like I said, I just make sure every single morning I just shower and I clean myself and I smell good. Like I treat myself like I'm a businessman. Have you ever seen a millionaire or somebody that runs a business walk out of their house unshowered without a nice watch on, just, you know, in bummy clothes or whatever it is? Even if you work from home, don't show up in pajamas. You're a businesswoman. You don't have any agents. You might not even really have a business yet. Right, but you're starting a business. That's why you got into this industry. You own a business. You're self-employed. You're 1099. You should probably make an LLC for tax purposes down the future as well when you start making money. So technically, in every aspect of your life, it's a business. So then why are you at home in pajamas? You know what I mean? Why are you not dressed like you run a business? Why do you not smell and clean like you run a business? You know what I mean? Every aspect of my morning and my day, I walk out of there like I have something to prove. I'm not going to go to the grocery store and look like a $10 man when I'm worth $1 million. That's just how it is. And I run my life like that, you know, and even if I'm not worth which I am, but even if I wasn't worth $1 million yet, I was damn sure acting like it. Cause I knew I was going to be there. I knew my worth.
I love it.
Very cool.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brittany, for asking. Anyone else got a question for Stanley?
I have a question.
Who's that, KG?
It's KG. Hey, Stanley, thank you
there
so
you go.
much
All
for
right.
blessing the team, all of our teams tonight. Question for you. What type of incentives are you running for your teams to keep them, well, I know people are, you know, have to be self-motivated, but to keep to keep everybody in the mix and producing at a high level. Are you running any incentives with your team? And if so, what are they?
Yeah, I just got back from Cabo on Monday. From Friday to Monday, I was out in Cabo with my top 5 managers. I'm doing a Dubai trip in January. I do trips. A lot of it is just like nice dinners, but more than anything, like you don't have incentives for your family, right? Has your mom ever given you an incentive to be a part of the family?
Heck
Like
no.
my agents are my agents. They're my family, you know, and they hang out with me. They do anything I do. You know, I don't care if they're producing a lot or producing a little. When they join my agency, they know that they're my family. They call me. I talk to my agents about personal issues. You know, I help them through all aspects of life. I'm really good at sitting down one-on-one with somebody and helping them through anything they're struggling with mentally or physically or in the job or outside of the job. So, you know, it's an open door. So as far as incentives go, I mean, dinners are, you know, every week we have a team dinner. You know, I meet a lot with the managers and do cool things with them. I take different teams because I have a few different legs. I take individual legs to different sorts of things. But a lot of what I do now is making sure that my agents are incentivizing their agents, because I'm at a point now where I have 3, 4 legs. So I'm making sure that they're doing the same thing I was doing for them. Because when we were small, we were having dinner every other day or every week, you know, with that small group. We were doing something every single week. I can't afford to take 100 people out, you know, I'll go broke. So I'm not doing, you know, mass team incentives necessarily anymore now, but I'm really, really on top of my leaders and my managers to make sure that they're treating their people like family. You know, my least favorite thing is to when an agent comes to me and is like, hey, you know, my upline, I just don't really like him. He kind of treats me like shit or whatever the case may be. Like, I can't stand that. It makes my skin crawl because I know when it was them working with me closely, I treated them like family. I treated with them with respect. But but it's also like respect is given. I treat everybody with respect until they don't respect me. And then it's like, hey, you just don't have a place here. So incentives are important though. Just simple stuff, man. Just make them feel a part of what you got going on. Make them feel special. Make them feel like they're a group. You have to have a culture, and your culture doesn't need to always be like competitive or crazy. It just has to feel like everybody is a part of it and you guys are all working together to achieve something, you know? And here's the deal is, back when I first started, I thought agents had to make money to stay here. And then I realized I just have to build something super, super special. And then even if an agent doesn't make money their first month or two, they're going to stay. And that's going to keep them here long enough to where month 3, they make a little bit of money. Month 4, they make a little more. Month 5, they're actually making money now, right? Because I built a culture to where even if they weren't making money right away, they wanted to stay here and they wanted to be a part of it, which was super important because some people aren't going to figure it out as fast as others, right? And you don't want to be an agency where you're only keeping people that figure it out in the first month, because I did not get into this industry to become uber rich. Like, I knew I was going to do that anyways. Part of the reason I like this industry so much is because I was piss poor broke when I was a kid. You know, I was in a trailer when I was born. I grew up in Decatur, Illinois, which if any of you are from Illinois, you know where Decatur is. Garbage. I bounced around. I think by the time I was 5, I had lived in 4 different houses, you know, apartments, not even houses. I'd be lying if I said they were houses. You know, I just didn't have money. Like, I didn't grow up with everything I wanted. My parents are doing a lot better now. They grew every single year. They just upped their life. They upped their apartment. They upped their house. You know, they were always growing, which I think is part of the reason I get it through. But one of the strongest people I've ever met in my life is my mother. And she just never stopped moving forward. I didn't care what she was going through. And I've watched her go through a lot. So when I got into this, where I'm from, Decatur, it's cornfields. Nobody's making 50 grand a month out there. Nobody's making 20 grand a month, especially not at a young age like me. So I seen that I had access to an opportunity that a lot of people never knew about. So when I got into this industry, I just wanted to share that opportunity and help change people's lives. So I created something very special. And incentives are a big part of that.
That's awesome. Thanks so much.
I have a quick question. How you doing, Stanley? My name's Adina. I jumped on here. I heard you mention that you would not work with part-time agents, right? So I just started November 1st. I do have a 9 to 5 and I'm part-time. But I want to give this my all. And
What's the
so
map on that?
say again.
Is your upline on this call?
She just got off. Correct.
You know, I don't know if you want to say it in front of
Give it to me straight. Give it to me
I don't know if you
straight.
want to say it in front of 190 people, but this is how I'm gonna break it down to you. How much are you making a month right now?
You talking about in this business?
Nope, 9 to 5.
9 to 5, a little over 60.
60,000 a year. Math on that breaks down to just under 5 grand a month, or right about 5 grand, 5.5 grand a month.
Yeah.
And how much would you say your bill
decrease? Say again?
Say it again.
No, I took it like I've been in between jobs to get to another position that I'm going in for. Just kind of
so even let's call it 6, 7. Call it 6, 7 grand. How much are your bills every single month?
Probably over 2,000-3,000.
2, 3. So bare minimum, we have to probably make about 4 grand to stay alive.
Correct.
We might even, if we're making 4 grand, we're not living life. We're struggling. We're staying alive though, and we're gonna be okay with 4 grand a month, right? The math on that is anywhere from 4 to 6 policies. Do you think if you worked every single hour for the next 30 days that you could, in a month, you couldn't make 4 to 6 grand in this industry? Even if you were getting free, terrible leads off your upline, if you just dialed and worked as much as you could you make at least 4 grand to stay alive?
Yes.
And do you think long-term, month after month, as we compound and we recruit and we grow month after month, this is going to end up being the opportunity that does it for you? This is where you're going to be successful?
Yes.
So let's stop prolonging it. If we can at least stay alive, we might cut off a few things that we're doing currently, because we're not going to be making, we should be, for the record, I think you're going to go out there and crush it. You're going to make 10 freaking grand your first month. I'll make that clear. I think you're going to kill it, because you're going to do everything you need to do in order to kill it. Is that fair? But
that's accurate.
Let's talk in worst case scenario, because nobody wants to think about what's the best case scenario. You know, everybody says, what if it doesn't work out? I don't say that shit. I say, what if it does work out? Right? But for your instance, let's talk worst case scenario. We make our 4 grand. We at least pay our bills. We at least stay alive. Next month, we can make more and we can compound month after month. I tell you, if you do that, and it works out, in the next 4 or 5 months, you will be making double what you ever thought you were going to make or what you're making currently. So when I break it down to you like that, what would be the reason we don't just go full time? Why aren't we just diving in? Let's make a sale. Here's what you're going to do. What hours do you work now?
And so I'm 9 to 5 on my job, and then once I get off, I get on the live dials.
So you're 9 to 5 Monday through Friday.
Yes.
What do you do Sunday? Are you working on this?
I'm on the live dial Saturday and Sunday. Like whatever time I have available is the time that I put into the
So
business.
from 6 p.m., you're East Coast?
Yes.
Oh, that's perfect. I don't know if you knew this, but California is 3 hours behind. Central Time's an hour behind. So we have 3 different time zones that we can hit. So if I really, really, really wanted to make this happen, and I don't know your situation, so I'm not calling you out if you don't do it. But if I was you and I knew this is really where I wanted to be and I wanted to make this stuff happen, from 6 p.m., because I'm gonna give myself an hour. I want to decompress and I want to get in my zone. If I'm not in my zone, I might as well not even be on the phones. I'm wasting my time. I'm gonna get on my zone. From 6 p.m. to about 10, 11 p.m., I'm working. And you best believe I'm getting a deal. Because here's the deal is you don't want to just show up. You're in a point right now where you can't show up. You have to make a change in your life. So you no longer just get to show up. You have to make a change. You have to go all in. So I'm working with intention. I have high energy. Even though it's 11 o'clock at night and I don't want to do it, I'm gonna fake it till I make it. I have high energy and I'm gonna go crazy from 6 to 11. Saturday, I'm gonna start work at probably 8 a.m. You're East, so maybe 9 a.m. I don't know what the whole deal is. Central and backwards is kind of what I deal with. I'm gonna start 8, 9 a.m. and I'm gonna work all day. I'm not going to grab drinks with my coworkers. I'm not going to grab dinner with my husband. Hey, husband, I'm trying to change our life. Hey, kids, I'm trying to change our life. You want to go to a private school? You want to wear Nikes every single day? You want to have nicer things? You want to get dropped off to school in a Range Rover? You look like you deserve a Range Rover. So
I like you.
Range Rover, you want to get dropped off in a Range Rover? This is what I got to do. And it's so
Right.
short term, right? But it becomes such a long-term thing, or it becomes something that never happens because you guys push it back and you push it back and you push it back. Don't push it back. Put it right in front of you and do it until it's done, or do it until it's a spot where you can be comfortable at and you can start to make some changes. And you go crazy. You work so hard. I promise you guys, I'd be at work 9 o'clock at night. I just work 12, 13 hours. I'm dialing like this. My eyes are just bloodshot. My hair is all over the place. I'm just pulling my hair out, typing in those numbers because I haven't made my sale that I promised myself I'd make today, right? I got a couple of my agents on this call. They hopped on. Alejandra Macias is the hardest worker I know. She gets in here every single day at 8 a.m. and she has a set goal she has to hit every day. If she doesn't hit it, she will work until 1 or 2 a.m. I will send you guys screenshots. I cannot tell you how many days a week she closes a deal after 11 o'clock at night, right? So what my point to that is, if you really wanted it like you're telling yourself you wanted it, you'd have it.
There we go. Stan, I appreciate it. We're over. Hey, man, I can't thank you enough for being on our call. I can't wait to see you at convention, meet you in person. Everyone, have a great week. Have a great Thanksgiving. We'll see you guys next Monday. And Frank said SRS call is still on Thursday. So everyone make it a great week. Stanley, thank you, man. Appreciate it,
Awesome.
buddy.
I appreciate you guys hopping on.
Thank
God bless
you, man.
you guys. Have a wonderful day.
You too, bro.
Good job, Stan.